Hi, I'm Dr. Paul with CarInjuryCare.tv, and we're talking with Dr. Nick Venturino, where we answer common questions about auto accident injuries and cases and medical legal questions. And the question we're talking about today with Dr. Venturino is when patients are a little fear or apprehensive of filing an accident report because they're afraid that their insurance rates are going to go up. So that's the question that we're talking about. And what's your experience with that, Dr. Venturino? Do you actually have patients that are afraid to file an accident report because they're afraid the rates are going to go up?
Absolutely, I have.
That has happened.
Yes.
And what are some scenarios of whether they should or shouldn't file a police report relative to that?
Well, I can't think of any scenario where they should not. Number one, it's always good to document that there was an accident for a number of reasons. One, if you do have problems and you don't document the accident, it's going to make it much harder to have the proper entity pay for any treatments that you may need. Two, if you have to miss work for any problems that you have related to that accident, without filing the police report, the insurance company is not going to pay for your lost wages. Thirdly, if you don't file the police report, it's going to be very difficult at any stage of any time you might have complaints to get the treatment covered, or to get any ancillary treatments, like if you need any testing, x-rays or MRIs or anything like that. The insurance company is going to fight tooth and nail to not cover it because you never reported the accident and you don't have the proper authority saying who was at fault and documenting that there was actually a problem.
You know, I know there's a statute of limitations that you can file relative to state law.
Correct.
Do you know what that is roughly here in Florida?
You have 2 years from the date of your accident to file a claim. If you file a claim when you have the accident, you have 4 years to open that claim for treatment.
I see. And has it been your experience, though, even though there's a certain time frame, they say they allow you 2 years, but if you don't file relatively quickly after that accident, they give you a harder time?
Yes.
Has that been your experience?
Yes. They may allow the claim to open, but they try to deny your treatment very quickly the further from the accident that you go. And their rationale is, well, you could have slipped in the bathtub, you may have picked up a bag of mulch and hurt your back. There could have been a number of things that caused this problem, not related to the auto accident, so we're not going to pay for much.
So even though there's a statute of limitations, the longer you wait to file a police report, the more likely they're going to fight you and not cover it.
Correct.
Have you had patients who have actually done that, not filed police reports, and then they tried to get coverage, or they realized that the problem was more extensive than what it was, and then they either couldn't get it covered or they had a hard time?
Yes, both cases where we actually could fight and get them some coverage, but again, the insurance company tried to cut them off as quickly as possible. And then the second scenario that you talked about, we've had some cases where they just said, well, the Florida statute says you can do this, but we're not going to pay, and no matter what you do, we're going to fight it tooth and nail so that we don't have to pay for anything, because we think this could have happened at the gym, or they provide a myriad of scenarios where you could have done something not auto related that could have caused this or flared it up.
Yeah, and then obviously, how does this affect other related issues, like getting their any damage to their car taken care of, or any time off from work because of an injury, or doctor bills? How does it affect all those other factors?
Well, like I said, the doctor bills, they're obviously not going to pay or they're not going to pay for as many of them the farther out you go from the date of the accident. And you need to make sure that you have that report done by a police officer, if at all possible, because that's a credible authority figure that says that the accident took place, and they document all of their information. As far as, there's no way you're going to get your car repaired if you don't file that report, or you don't talk to your insurance company, because they're not going to have any responsibility with it if you don't let them know that the car was damaged. And as far as time lost on the job, Florida statute says that they will pay up to, I believe it's 80% of lost wages as it pertains to time you missed from the job from an auto accident. They're not going to cover any of that, just like they wouldn't cover your treatment if they don't know that there's been an accident and that they should be responsible for that.
And have you had patients who have not filed a police report, had followed up with an injury that they received from an accident, and may have been months later, weeks or months later, and the insurance company just flat out deny covering them?
And I'll take it a step further. What I've seen is, well, I'm not going to file a report because I have health insurance. My health insurance will cover me. And what they'll find is that maybe the other party filed a claim. You said, I was in this accident with party A. You didn't file the claim, but because the other party did, now it's in that computer database, and your own health insurance won't cover you because you didn't report the accident. So the health insurance says, no, it's the auto insurance's responsibility. The auto insurance is saying, well, they never reported it, we're not paying it. And there's no party that's willing to pay for your
Take
treatment.
responsibility.
Yeah.
So that's like a double whammy.
It's really bad news for the patient.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So the bottom line with that is, if you don't file a police report, it sounds like you're really asking for a lot of trouble.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't seek care. So even if you don't seek care, but just get that police report filed and that accident report filed.
I've had several instances where a patient that's treated with me already comes in and says, "Oh, doc, I had an accident, but I don't want to file a claim. It's not a big deal." And I said, well, who was at fault? And give me the details. Well, this person hit me from behind, and they took off, and we caught them, and just a nasty story. Well, it winds up they didn't call and file a claim, but the other party did, and the other party said, well, this person hit me and took off. And now you're involved in a lawsuit,
Right.
trying to keep yourself from being sued when the real at-fault party
Right.
filed a claim against you because you didn't document.
Another potential problem.
Absolutely.
Just by.
It can be very, very messy.
Okay. I see. All right. Well, that makes sense. All right. Well, again, this is Dr. Paul with carinjurycare.tv.